Whenever there is an exciting musical movement on the rise, it's common for people to assign leadership to the figures who have the most visible influence or the most notoriety. But in reality, what makes artistic movements so special is how everyone involved is able to push the wave forward by evolving individually. The current abstract underground hip-hop scene, where rappers have blended expressionistic lyricism and production to make such amazing music, has a lot of artists in this wave. It's easy for the public to pick out a few figureheads of a wave like this. I know I'm guilty of this too, but I think it's what's off to the side of what's most known where you can often find what is most interesting. I've made a few videos about how important Mike is to this scene, and trust me, more videos on him are coming. But I want to focus on another artist who I actually discovered from his collaborations with Mike. Sideshow doesn't yet get the praise he deserves, and he's usually thought of as a side character to the main underground rap game. But trust me when I tell you that Sideshow is not a sideshow in this shit. He is the main event. Sideshow was born in Tigray, Ethiopia, and raised in the DMV before eventually settling in Los Angeles. And you can definitely feel a wide array of worldly cultural influences in his music. His latest album is his most ambitious. Tigray Funk is a 4-disc quadruple album filled to the brim with the creative experimentation that Sideshow has been cultivating through this decade. This is his 7th album since 2020. And the definitive representation of what makes Sideshow special. This album feels like a disorienting dream state, with glitched out production that calls back to so many different sounds and eras of music that it can only come from this current one. One of the calling cards of this artistic wave is how these artists are able to capture feelings and emotions through abstract and experimental choices rather than lyrically spelling it out for the listener. Lyrically, his words on this record take us from his heart through his mind in a collage of thoughts and emotions. There's lots of references to drugs, and the album feels at times like each of the 4 discs takes you through a different level of his trip. Jumping from feeling to feeling, unable to understand how much time has passed, until you get to the end of the journey and have to reflect on what you just heard. His music has a laid-back feel to it, but it's far from relaxing. There's a pace to it that fluctuates from song to song, helping the entire thing feel alive and constantly evolving. It feels very similar to jazz, although this is far from what I would call jazz rap. The greatest jazz music often exists only in the moment it was created. Jazz music can be improvisational, stemming directly from an artist's soul through their fingertips. And as was the case with many legendary jazz musicians, the use of drugs often became something that was able to get the artists to channel something even more primal within them. These ideas are pointed out on disc 2 of the album with the song Yardbird, where he brings up Charlie Parker's use of heroin and debates how it contributed to the classic music that he made. This album is Sideshow purging himself of all his feelings and emotions musically. His lifetime of influences, both from art and his own experiences, have shaped him, and he is the prism that his light of influence gets shined through to create a new light. This was his first album in 2 years, since his album Fun Toy, which feels like a foundational stepping stone in helping to get Sideshow to his Tigray Funk. It was his second longest record up to that point, and the first time that he took some major risks with his production, moving away from more traditional lo-fi soul samples to something that is much more bending of the norms, melding modernized drums and synth techniques with more grounded traditional samples to create a soundscape that lets Sideshow the rapper come alive. When you really listen to his lyrics, Sideshow has lived to tell the tale of a gritty, drugged-out life of debauchery, and his reflection comes without remorse, but with respect. He's not an artist that will just throw up a new album every few months. Each of his records has an impressive amount of care and craft put in, even when it feels like his stream of consciousness flow and aura are products of happenstance. It's all intentional. He released the EP Jam with Alexander Spit in August of 2023, and that project really signified his foray into a more experimental and exploratory sound. 7 tracks that all feel like a different mode of Sideshow and really shows off his versatility. This one is super underrated. His 2 records before this, Wagata Tapes, Volume 1, and 2mm Don't Just Stand There, feel like the bridge of his career, with a touch of that experimental, forward-thinking that he's been honing recently, but still based primarily in the lyrically focused, more traditional style that he came into the game with. I've always found both of these albums very underrated, and I think they'll continue to be, since they fall between 2 more discussed eras of his career. His 2021 album Wicked Man's Reprise is actually my favorite album of his entire career. It fits in line with those pandemic underground classics like Mike's Weight of the World or Navy Blues' Songs of Sage, as a product of an introspective mind and a creative young artist eager to show the world that the music he has in his heart was worthy of being more than a sideshow. This album has a familiar lyrical theme to his recent work, filled with reflection, really being a reprise of a man who's lived a wicked life at times. And I do think there's a clarity and precision to his lyrical delivery here that he sacrifices a bit on his newer albums in lieu of a more impressionistic flow. Both styles are great, and you can hear how they branch from the same man at the core. And even though I prefer this album to anything else he's released, I can't help but respect that he's shown so much evolution in his sound over just this half-decade. I can't imagine what he will evolve to if he continues on this trajectory for many more years. And when you go back even further to listen to his first 2 albums, which both released in 2020, you can hear the seeds of this evolution were planted all along. These 2 albums, while I personally find them a little disjointed at times compared to his later work, both have aspects of the things that he would go on to do so expertly later on. When I first got into Sideshow around this time, I was so disappointed by the lack of attention he was getting among fans of this scene. But now, after a series of great projects, and honestly the taste of this movement kind of catching up to the disorienting dynamicism of Sideshow, I'm happy to see that people are starting to realize that Sideshow should be the center of attention, and he has been the main event of the year so far with Tigray Funk. Thank you for watching, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. This was my first month in a while where I released 3 videos in 1 month, so I'm getting back into the swing of things, releasing more often for you guys. So let me know down in the comments, who should I cover next? Head over to patreon.com/devgoldblum if you want to support the channel and vote on future video topics and get exclusive podcasts from me and all my videos early and a bunch of extra perks over there. As always, this video is dedicated to all of my patrons. Thank you guys so much for everything. Let me know down in the comments, what are your thoughts on Sideshow? What's your favorite song of his? And how are you guys feeling Tigray Funk? And that just about does it. So as always, I got a lot more headed your way. So stay tuned, stay safe, and stay def. Thanks for watching.